When I say the word stacks, what comes to mind? Leave it down below in the comment section because I'm about to drop some knowledge that's going to have you looking at your team a whole different way. What is going on, Headline Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. We're talking about stacks, right? I mentioned it in the intro, and I asked you guys to leave a comment down below of what comes to mind when you think of stacks. And honestly, it's probably going to be something different for a lot of people, but we're talking about stacks in mock drafting, but not just any stacks. We're trying to find the cheapest, highest producing stacks in fantasy football so that we can find that value still. That's why we don't want people to continually overpay on certain positions, and then they kind of hurt their overall roster construction. So we're talking about stacks today, but I also got a giveaway to do because this guy's name is starting to come up a lot in training camp videos, and a lot of people are starting to hop on the bandwagon of one Treylon Burks of the Tennessee Titans. So we have a signed Titans jersey of Treylon Burks right there. How are you going to be able to get this? Have your free account signed up on pristineauction.com using referral code Headliners. Doesn't cost you anything. Have that account set up. You're eligible for all of our giveaways all year long. And then we got to hit the like goal of 2,000 likes on this video. If we can get it, leave your comment down below. I'll be picking a random winner once we hit that like goal. Looking forward to doing that. But let me answer the question that I asked you just a few seconds ago. When you think of stacks, what do you think of? I personally think of these kinds of stacks. I mean, come on. You honestly don't think that I got to the size of an offensive lineman here by not eating double cheeseburgers? These things are amazing. If I had to pick one, if I had to pick my favorite, it's probably not the consensus favorite. It's probably going to be Burger King. I'm going to be a big Burger King fan. We had late night Burger King in Canton, Ohio last year at the Fantasy Football Expo. It was legit. It hit the spot. Gimme a Burger King double cheeseburger right now. Unfortunately, though, that's not exactly what all we're talking about here today. In fact, it's not even close. We're talking about stacks in fantasy football. Wide receivers, tight ends, paired up with their own quarterbacks. Are they beneficial? Well, there's really a couple different ways to look at this because stacking is super important. Now, we could look at triple stacks, and that's where we include running backs, but we're not in this episode here today, sticking strictly with the double stacks here of quarterbacks and either wide receivers or tight ends. So I got the top 20 more than likely most popular stacks. Now, before you blow me up in the comment section, yes, I know there are a lot more potential stacks that you can kind of hit here this year in fantasy football. But honestly, these are the top 20 we're going with as of right now. Because we still got a lot of the big hitters here at the top, right? Stafford with Kupp and A-Rob, Burrow with Chase and Higgins, Brady with Evans, Lamar with Andrews or Bateman. Got Justin Herbert, because right now, man, I am feeling so fancy. We got him paired up with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson. Tua with both Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Trey Lance with Debo and Kittle. Carr with Devontae Adams now. Prescott with Lamb. Murray with Hollywood because D-Hop's suspended. And then Russell Wilson with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. And finally, Matt Ryan with Michael Pittman. So this is what I did here. Now, maybe you're not familiar with the site Run the Sims. Let me go ahead and pull it up here on the screen real quick. And here we have it right here. So what you can do that's really awesome on this site is I can kind of build my own projections, and maybe that's something you're familiar with, maybe it's not, and that's okay. You don't have to be, right? There is no set in stone formula when it comes to building projections, but you don't just have to take them blindly and follow them. So I'm going to give an example. I'm not going to walk through all 20 stacks and all the changes I made, but let's just go over to the Rams right here because Stafford and Kupp and A-Rob are on the top of the list. So you can go in here, and now all these numbers are going to be based off of averages, you know, over the last few years in that offense. They are legit numbers, but maybe you see things a little bit differently. So I've gone in here and said the plays are at 1,050 for the year. They're going to rush the ball 40% of the time. I actually dropped that number a little bit because I don't think they overwork Cam Akers. 57 touchdowns, high-powered offense, and a rush TD rate of only 30% because we know Matt Stafford's going to throw the ball quite a bit. Now, when you do this, you can also go into each individual player and change their individual projections if you want to. So we have Matthew Stafford here. If you scroll on down, you can go ahead and find Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. You can put in their market share, which is their target share, average yards per reception can go in here. You can see I've manipulated a little bit when they're grayed are the ones that I've changed. Touchdown market share as well. Cooper Kupp gonna see a lot of touchdown opportunities, but Allen Robinson sitting right there at 15%. And then it'll automatically calculate fantasy points for you and tell you where they will be in your rankings based off of that. So right here, we got Kupp for 321, A-Rob for 178, and at the very top, Matthew Stafford for 346. I'll go through one more just so you guys kind of have an idea of what I did. Let's look at the Bengals here. And right off the bat, you can see 1,020 plays, 43% rush rate, 52 touchdowns, slightly lower than the Rams, but not by much. And then a rushing touchdown rate of 33% because we know they're going to be slinging it a lot as well. Didn't really adjust Joe Burrow too much from where they actually had him. Sitting right now at quarterback 11, 342.4 fantasy points. Not horrible, but where I did make some changes was down here to some of the wide receivers. And you got to remember, I can't just bump up totals for T. Higgins or whatever and not take it from somebody else, right? I can't just add market share to somebody. It still has to equal 100%. So I've manipulated a little bit. I got Jamar Chase at 25, T. Higgins at 22, Tyler Boyd at 19, but Jamar Chase is at 15 yards per target. I mean, those big plays are going to be there. Once again, we see their touchdown market share. The catch rates can also be manipulated, right? If you want to say, hey, I believe that they're going to make an improvement in this category, by upping their catch rate, that means the available targets that they're getting, they're more likely to produce with them. So you can kind of see where they fell out here. Jamar Chase at 255, wide receiver 4, and T. Higgins 211 at wide receiver 10. Just playing around with some of these projections. Now, this is a lot of fun to do, and I did this for every one of the stacks, that we just saw on the previous screen, but I did that for a reason. So let's go ahead and bring all those stacks back up for a second. But this time, let's look at their total projected points scored based off of the projections that I made manually. And here you can see each stack having a coinciding box with the total amount of possible fantasy points they could score based off the projections we had. You can see right at the top, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Joe Burrow and Chase, Cousins and Jefferson, these guys at the top, over 600 combined points. But you saw the thumbnail, you saw the video title, and you're like, Jake, what am I stop overpaying for? Well, we don't always want to overpay in fantasy football. We talk here all the time, and we're going to practice what we preach. We don't pass on running backs early, and we don't draft quarterbacks early. So what we're going to do in this exercise here is we're going to remove all the wide receivers and tight ends that have a top 24 ADP, the first 2 rounds, because in those rounds, we're trying to go running back if possible. And the same goes for quarterback. We're not reaching super early, so we're going to remove the quarterbacks who have a top 48 ADP. Quarterbacks within the first 4 rounds, because we're trying to find the cheapest, most prominent stacks in fantasy football. So when you do that, and we're going to pull up all the projections here for all the stacks real quick, let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we remove those players. What stacks are left? And right off the bat, you can see all the big names at the top are off the list. Why is that? You have to invest heavy draft capital to get those guys. A lot of those wide receivers are top, 24 overall picks. We're trying to find the cheapest option, the biggest bang for our buck, if you will. So the highest name left here is going to be Tom Brady paired up with Mike Evans at 560.6. Right behind them is Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, followed by Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown. And then we got Russell Wilson with Sutton, Tua with Waddle, Lance with Kittle, Jackson with Bateman, Stafford with A-Rob, Wilson with Judy, and Ryan with Pittman. But what's crazy about some of this is look how close a lot of these guys are. We got Brady, Burrow, and Kyler. They're all right there within 20, 30 fantasy points or so. And then the next group, they're all, basically within 25, 30 points of each other. So, these are not way off stacks. But what do we do here? Now that we have this information, how do we go about it? Now, I will say, I ran a lot of mock drafts, and there was one stack that was removed from this list that I found myself able to get every once in a while in mock drafts. And it was this one. It was the Tua and Tyreek Hill. There are opportunities that if you're towards the beginning half of the 3rd round, which means you have an early 1st round pick, that Tyreek Hill could fall to the beginning of the third, giving you the opportunity to get Tua late, pair him with Tyreek, and have an even higher scoring stack. So that was just something that I found I was able to do from time to time, but I didn't just do one mock draft. No. We spent some time mocking. So we went over to our friends at Fantrax and we started mocking. And we mocked. And mocked. And mock some more. And if you want to mock draft with us, make sure you have your free account signed up at fantrax.com/headliners, link down below, and also become a member of the community. The blue join button just below the video here, you become a member and they get the links dropped to them on the community tab and in our Discord, and you'll have a chance to mock draft with us all the time. But this is what we actually came up with. Here are the top 5 stacks. Now, we had them on the screen earlier. I didn't include the Tyreek Hill because technically it was something that was kind of hit and miss. Here were the top 5 stacks, though. We had Brady and Evans, Burrow and Higgins, Murray and Brown, Wilson and Sutton, Tua and Waddle. Now, I've gone through and done like 7-round projections of what your team could look like if you go with this stack. For Brady and Evans, you could end up with the likes of Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans in the 3rd, followed by ETN, DJ Moore, Kareem Hunt, and Tom Brady. They're in the 7th to complete the Evans and Brady stack. Overall, don't hate that choice. Next up, Burrow and Higgins. Started off in the 1.06, went with Cook, followed him up with Aaron Jones, got Higgins in the 3rd, followed by Elijah Mitchell, and then Joe Burrow in the 5th, A-Rob in the 6th, and Juju in the 7th. Overall, another super solid team that I don't mind, honestly. Next up, Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown. Started off with Joe Mixon at the 7th overall pick, followed up with Aaron Jones, T. Higgins once again, Josh Jacobs, Kyler Murray in the 5th, Hollywood Brown in the 6th, and then Gabe Davis, the high upside play, in the 7th. When I look at this roster, it's a little bit more iffy than the previous 2. Next up, Wilson and Sutton. And full disclosure, I love this team. If you play in PPR, good Lord. At the 3rd overall pick, you could have Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette, Keenan Allen. So you've kind of got a double stack here because you got Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler as well to go with Leonard Fournette, Travis Etienne, Cortland Sutton in the 5th, Amon-Ra in the 6th, and then Russell Wilson beginning of the 7th. I love that overall squad right there. And then lastly, Tua and Waddle. At the 8th overall pick, which is kind of where you need to be to complete this stack, you got Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, and James Conner, followed by Waddle in the 4th, Sutton in the 5th, Thielen in the 6th, Pollard in the 7th. But where is Tua? You can wait another 3 rounds and get him in the 10th round to complete your stack. Another one of those teams that I really, really love if you really want to wait on quarterback late. But when you look at all these different scenarios, which one is it that you like the best? Leave them down below in the comment section. I'm kind of intrigued to see what you guys like. I mean, I like the Brady and Evans. I like the Burrow and Higgins. The Murray and Brown, not my favorite, but they were one of the top 5 scoring stacks at the cheapest price. Wilson and Sutton I like, and Tua and Waddle I like. If I had to choose just one, honestly, I'm really liking the Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton stack. To get Eckler, Fournette, and Keenan Allen, even Travis Etienne, the first 4 rounds, if you are in any type of PPR scoring, good Lord, you could have a heyday with those names right there. Absolutely love that stack, but leave me those comments down below and let me know which one of these that you really prefer in these scenarios. And this is what makes mock drafting a lot more fun, in my opinion, is trying to find out different scenarios. If you're always mock drafting and always taking the same players, honestly, you're kind of just wasting your time, which I get it. Sometimes that's just fun to do. But when you look at different scenarios and you try different things and you focus on different areas of your team at different times of the draft, it gives you the opportunity to really see things visually in a bunch of different ways. And then you kind of figure out which one you like the best. That's overall the purpose of mock drafting, in my opinion. Like I've said in previous videos, people are out there talking about drafting best balls. Just stop. Just ignore that. That has nothing to do with normal redraft season-long fantasy football. 2 different mindsets. Don't get them confused. But leave me those comments down below. Let me know which stack you like the best. And don't forget, got to hit that like button so we can give away this Traylon Burks jersey here as soon as we hit our like goal on this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content, though. I'm going to hop out of here. Have a great rest of your day, a great week, and we'll talk to you later.